period of the world. Europe, China, and India played a big role in the debate over science and religion because the choices they made were crucial and would each affect what would happen to them. Science and religion were fighting over what was right and what was wrong and the changes that needed to happen. The Roman Catholic Church was mostly spread throughout Europe and was still very separated between the Roman Catholics and the Eastern Orthodox. Martin Luther, a German priest who is known for nailing this 95 Thesis on the door of the Catholic Church. The 95 Thesis was the debate of how the Roman Catholic Church was being ran and how it was making people think in a certain way, and the Church was no longer being ran correctly or in a way that it once was and somehow lost their way. One of the many reasons, but by far the most important, was the subject of the Church selling indulgences. Indulgences basically meant that if you paid the Church, you can remove all your sins and penalties. Martin Luther did not think that was what it meant being a Catholic, so he decided to give people a new way to think about Catholicism and not be so closed off on how the world works and how the Church was changing in a negative way and leaving the ideals that they once had and that was not acceptable to them. Many women were attracted to the idea of protesting but had no voice and had no power to do anything about it. After the bloodshed that was spilled and all the lives that were lost over the fight of religion and science, the Catholic Church finally saw what was going on and felt that they were not strong enough to continue. And the thought of that change might actually be beneficial to both sides. In the Council of Trent, from 1545 through 1564, the Roman Catholic Church had somehow managed to bring forward the new idealistic ways of thinking and try to condone for the actions of the Catholic Church had done and try to make up for it in any way possible and began to be more liberal with certain idealizations. With European expanding, Christianity became possible in other regions. Many Catholic missionaries were being placed all around the world and somehow managed to be the most successful in Spanish America and the Philippines. Christianity then reached China, and it wasn't the success that the Roman Catholic Church had hoped for due to the fact that the Church had nothing to offer the Chinese, who had everything they wanted and needed. And the Chinese also didn't like the thought of all or nothing, which to the Roman Catholic Church meant they were all in or they were all out. Islam began to open itself out there more, and it came with more rules to follow and many more hardships to deal with. It started to become more unfair to women as they no longer had any control in their body or say. Women also became subjects to men and had no voice in society. Taxes were becoming abolished and any type of art and drugs were being banned from Islam. Islam was now changing in a negative way and affected the country and themselves and benefited no one because they were all just restricted and felt that they were trapped and speaking out led to punishment. So everyone did as they were told. If a woman were to speak out in any way, a severe punishment would be paid to her for what she had said or done, and her family would also pay a consequence. It would have brought shame down to all of them, and it would affect them all in a negative way, and so the women decided it was their duty to stay quiet so they could protect themselves, their husband, and their children, and have no harm come to them.
In China, there were not many major changes like in Europe, similarly to India, in where the religions and cultural beliefs remained very similar to each other and very stable. However, there were some different statuses that were compared between the two places. In China, there was a mix between three beliefs or